Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here alongside the young boy Josh Smith. And joining us for this very special episode, we have Rich Latta and James Boyd from One Nation Radio. On today's show, we'll be covering everything we've seen on Wrestlemania weekend, from Supercard of Honor to all the indies that we've been to. Make sure you support the Social Suplex Podcast Network by subscribing on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcast archives along with all of our columns at socialsuplex.com. Go to socialsuplex.com/subscribe to sign up to get all the podcasts and columns delivered directly to your email inbox. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Good, man. It's been a legendary week in professional wrestling, no matter what promotion it's in. We've seen guys from New Japan. We've seen guys from NXT, and now WrestleMania is later on today. But what do you guys think about all this stuff? Like this shit's been crazy.
Well, we've got almost all this at bottles of water all around us because we've been screaming our heads off. We've been running hard, and this has been a crazy week. I mean, if you can't tell by our voices, like, this has been an exhausting week, but this has been one of the greatest weeks of wrestling I've ever witnessed in my entire life. The lineup here is just incredible.
So let's kind of start recapping some of the stuff that we saw this weekend. So all kicked off on Thursday. We saw the 2018 WrestleCon Super Show. A lot of New Japan guys on there. The first New Japan matchup that we saw, we saw Ichi against Jeff Cobb. How did you guys feel about that match?
I think I marked out one of the largest markout moments of my life. Just seeing Ichi come out, being like, he's real.
He's right there.
Yeah, the Stone Pitbull right in front of us.
Yeah, man. When I saw Ichi and Jeff Cobb, who nothing to take away from him at all, he came to play for sure. This was just the excellence of Tomohiro Ishii showing once again, no matter who the opponent is, essentially, he's going to go in there and make you conform and make you step your damn game up. Hard-hitting, bruiserweight Hoss match, and, dramatic, everything like that. So, that was a great match. I thought it was around 4 1/4.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I have it written down. We have it as 4.5. But
okay.
That was just an awesome match, and we've been watching Ishii for a while now, and we see him on New Japan World, but it was just crazy to see him in person, and such a great matchup he had with Jeff Cobb. Like you mentioned, Rich, it was hard hitting, and even though Jeff Cobb was obviously a little bit wider, a little bit bigger than Ishii, you couldn't tell. Ishii carries himself like a super heavyweight and was taking it to that man.
Like a 7-footer.
Yeah.
Seeing Jeff Cobb in real life, I mean, I've seen him before, but just seeing him again was incredible as well. I got the pleasure to see him perform several times this week. There was one spot in that match that really stood out where they traded forearms for 2 minutes straight.
Yes.
Rich, you clocked 45 seconds?
I clocked 45 seconds of it, and it was just you could see the either the sweat or the juice in Jeff Cobb's hair go flying as Ishii was clobbering him back and forth.
Yeah, and Jeff Cobb, definitely, I hope we could potentially maybe see him in the G1 Climax this year.
He was excellent this week. Every time I watched him, he was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some spots opening up in the G1. You guys, the guy that had his last G1 last year. So Jeff Cobb, I think, would be a great guy to kind of come in and fill some of those missing spots that we might have this year. So,
what else was on the show?
None of these guys are New Japan guys. We have to talk about this real quick. There was a tag match between Ray Horace Phoenix going against Flamita and Bandito. And the match was so good that at the end, the crowd was throwing money in the ring at these guys.
Yes. So much innovation. I thought I saw a legendary moment in time in wrestling history. I imagine this is similar throughout wrestling history. Back in the days, they didn't have streaming services and ways you could watch everything. So you just kind of felt like you were a part of something with that match. I saw some shit in that match that I've never seen before. This guy was doing kip-ups on the top rope. His back was hitting the ropes, and I believe I have that on camera as well. And he was using the second rope to bounce off of. It was just Lucha Libre at its absolute zenith.
Yeah, it was awesome. These are guys I think these guys are all affiliated with Crash and Lucha Underground, but I would love to see these guys in the Best of the Super Juniors in New Japan. I mean, there were just so many moves, I didn't even know what to call them. And just the risks they were taking on this indie show was crazy.
Yeah, I saw several. We saw, I don't know, a lot of different spot fests. High level athleticism. Wrestling in 2018 is on a different level, and it's pretty peculiar when you see a match that you're this stood head and shoulders from an athletic standpoint than everything else I saw on the weekend. Across all promotions, WWE and NXT and Ring of Honor.
That's a good candidate for best match of the weekend. I think we'll get to something later that I think sealed the deal, and I'm gonna jump out on the limb here and start saying it now. But up until what we just watched recently, that was in a class of its own.
Yeah, it was incredible. Then later on, we got to see the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, Will Ospreay. That's right, Will Ospreay, after almost killing himself against Skrull, decided to make his bookings here in New Orleans.
Well, I'm glad he did.
Yeah, we saw some great Ospreay matches all weekend, and here he was in a fatal four-way against Adam Brooks, Sammy Guevara, and Shane Swerve Strickland. And this is another match where these guys were just being reckless with their bodies, diving, flipping all over the place. Ospreay, even injured, was still wrestling at 100%, doing all of his crazy spots and not taking it easy at all.
Yeah, man. I said this after watching a couple different Will Ospreay matches this week, literally starting at Sakura Genesis and going through to the last match I saw him in, which was against Matt Riddle, which we'll talk about later. He's wrestling like he wants the crown. He was a young guy for a couple years. Now he's that's over. I'm here now. I'm arriving. And it's sometimes in the NBA, and James, you can attest to this, dudes arrive early, and I feel like I saw that in Will Ospreay this entire week.
Yeah, Anthony Davis this year, for example.
Yeah.
Young boy, what do you think about Ospreay in this match?
Which match was that?
The fatal four-way against Adam Brooks, Sammy Guevara, and Shane Strickland.
I thought it was excellent. I think I was worried about his neck, to be honest with you, and maybe expected him to kind of phone in some of his performances, or maybe he was put in a four-way to kind of protect him. But that clearly was not the case, because he did as much or more than everybody else that was on the show. I can't project any further than I already am. But yeah, it was an excellent match. 4 stars.
What else was on that show?
So next we had Sami Callihan teaming up with the flamboyant Juice Robinson and the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi, taking on the team of David Starr, Brian Cage, and the IWGP Intercontinental Champion Minoru Suzuki. Once again, it was just crazy having Tanahashi right there in front of us, Minoru Suzuki right there in front of us. we made sure not to glance too much at Suzuki in case he decided, jump out in the crowd and come,
handle us.
You're right.
You gotta be careful. Like trying to look Menorah Suzuki in the eye, that's like gambling with your own health. I feel like.
Yeah.
When we met him at WrestleCon, I made sure I didn't stare too long. I approached him like, "Yes, sir," and I had my head down, show ultimate respect.
I was like, Suzuki Ichiban, and he just nodded his head at me. I was like,
yes.
Time to get out of here.
Bro, he let me hold the IWGP, both of us. He let us hold the IWGP Intercontinental title, and it was like, yeah, man, I don't want you to flash and see red and destroy me, by holding your belt.
Right.
This is yours. Let's not get this,
just for the picture.
Yes.
But yeah, in this match, Sami Callihan was getting all the heat.
Oh yeah.
We were the whole crowd was burying this man. Pretty much, he was the one guy on his team getting booed. Everybody loved Juice Robinson and Tanahashi. I would love to see Juice and Tanahashi in the World Tag League this year. And then Menorah Suzuki was out here, doing his thing.
We all got to scream Kaisi Ninare.
Oh, yeah, that was the best. Josh, what do you think about seeing these guys?
Well, that was actually the second time that I got to see Suzuki that weekend, because as soon as we got here, I got dropped off at Matt Riddle's Bloodsport.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so that was an excellent card. It was essentially a shoot style card. I didn't really know what to expect, because looking at the workers that were on the card, there's a lot of guys who are not known for shoot style wrestling whatsoever, and then there's a lot of MMA fighters, and then there's a lot of technical guys who could probably shoot. So it was it was game-changing wrestling. GCW are the ones who put it on, and they're known for big blood sport death match type of things. They're based out of New Jersey, but there was no ropes, and it was submission and knockouts only. And I don't know that shoot style's ever been a big thing in North America at all. So the show overall, nothing dragged. I think everything was under 8 minutes long, and they all felt kind of like MMA fights. Some of the workers weren't great at the style, but the matches that were good were enough to make up for that. Plus, everything was interesting and felt fresh. The crowd didn't know what to expect, and so they were very into it. Plus, it was the first show of the weekend. It was on what was that, Thursday? Thursday at 2:30. So, but the main event was supposed to be Matt Riddle versus Loki, and we found out the night before Loki had to drop out, and all of a sudden it's Menorah Suzuki.
What a fucking upgrade.
Right.
And if you guys don't know, we all know about Menorah Suzuki in New Japan, but Menorah Suzuki is one of the greatest shoot style wrestlers that has ever lived. He's essentially one of the godfathers of MMA, period. You don't have MMA if you don't have Menorah Suzuki, period. So seeing him go up against Matt Riddle was like a dream match, and those guys went out there and they killed it. Probably about 3.5. It's kind of hard to judge that style against other styles, but they went out there and it was super meaningful. And as soon as he came out there, the crowd just lost. It was the first big pop I heard the whole time I was there. They lost their minds. He went out there and they had a great match. The strike exchanges were just insane, because those two guys know how to work that style. They're both real fighters.
Right.
And it ended up finishing up with Menorah Suzuki ended up catching Matt Riddle in a rear naked choke. And Matt Riddle couldn't get out. There's no ropes. There's no breaks. He ended up giving everybody the bro signal like he was fine. And then he just faded out. And then he just had to tap out. And it was awesome. And then they got up. They bowed to each other, hugged each other. It was a great moment. And that was my first experience. And I saw Menorah Suzuki, and I was in awe. I could not believe he was there, that I was seeing him in an actual shoot fight. I'd never, because he doesn't even, it's once in a blue moon he ever does that. So, I don't think I'll ever get to see that again. So, that was a highlight moment for me that weekend.
Right. And Suzuki also got the win in this 6-man also. He submitted Sami Callihan and was going to break his arm, and then almost broke.
Seeing Juice come out was a mark-out moment. Then seeing the Ace come out was a mark-out moment. And Suzuki, it was just unbelievable. We were so close to the ring. We had great seats that we didn't.
We finessed seats, by the way.
Yeah, we finessed those ground seats. We thought we were going to be up in the bleachers. We were right by ringside.
Yeah.
And the Ace pointed at me.
I got him on video doing so.
Yeah, I got a picture of it too.
Yeah, so he came over to our, and I mean, this sounds like such a fanboy, but I am a fanboy for Tanahashi.
Yes.
And he came up on the turnbuckle and he's looking in our direction, and a lot of the people around us like kind of knew about Tanahashi, but it seemed like this crowd didn't know him like that.
Yeah.
And I did his Ace, the Ace hand signal he does.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and I pointed at him. And he looked at me and he pointed right back.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my! I mean, I can't even. I'm trying to like mark out, but my voice is like going out.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't believe it. I literally couldn't believe that. Like, and then at one point when during the match, I was like, better than Okada, and he like popped. He just smiled back. He like did a little air guitar, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, and Rich and I got to meet Tanahashi at WrestleCon, and I was trying to get him to do a drop for the show, but he didn't quite understand me, and so I have like 30 seconds of a broken interview with him. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll put it up on the show at the end. Yeah.
He started to give you an interview, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thought
just off the love, essentially.
He thought you were trying to interview him, and he was going to give you an interview. Who, like, what other major star when you come up to them and you're like, hey, would you be willing? They don't know who you are. Hey, I want to interview you real quick, and they were like, okay, sure, I'll do it. Like, Tanahashi started to do that for you because he literally thought that you were going to interview him. That's how cool he was.
Yeah, and
bro, he was just like when I talked to him, it was like, yo, you are like the central reason that New Japan is on the map for us to watch and enjoy, in the West, essentially, like, the way he saved the company.
Yeah.
And I just thanked him for all the, Wrestle Kingdom 9 and 10, 11, 12, like he's the one. Like, he is always going to be the ace.
Yeah, and it's crazy like how he marked out for
cool.
He marked out for Shawn Michaels.
Yes,
because I came over there, I had my Shawn Michaels autograph, and he was like, "Shawn Michaels is here? Where is Shawn Michaels? Can I meet Shawn Michaels?" And Rich was like, "You guys need to get booked.
You guys should get booked. Have a match. Yeah, man. So like Tanahashi spoke like the limited English he did speak, it was great,
very good,
and like I expected. Like,
I mean, we owe our fandom of New Japan and the growth of Japanese wrestling to him. I mean, he saved that company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no Keepin It Strong Style. There's no New Japan World. There's none of that without Tanahashi. He's like us. I don't know. Maybe outside of Inoki, he might be the most pivotal figure in their company's history. That's how important he is.
Yeah, man.
And being able to like chant "Go Ace" and do the respectful hand claps and to chant Tanahashi and just see him do a high five flow, like incredible.
Yeah.
And he was having so much fun.
Yes.
And Suzuki was too.
Yeah, all these New Japan guys were having a great time this weekend.
It was like every New Japan guy I walked up on, like it was like my sole goal to let them know, yo, what you guys are doing, you guys are fucking legends. Like, you guys are superstars that we recognize way over here. Like, I literally went into when I met Ichi, I went into Google Translate because I knew Ichi wasn't going to speak in English, right? So I Google translated like something for him to read, and then like he just looked up at me and smiled and shook my hand, like just to let him know, like, yo, like you're like.
You didn't tell me you did that.
Yeah,
awesome.
I got the idea. Like I was like, I never like heard Ishii like talking or anything like that.
Right.
But
You did that to Ishii?
Yeah.
I did it to Ishii.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah.
I didn't get to meet Ishii. I was very I wanted to, but one of these days I'm sure I will. I'm going to meet Ishii one of these days.
Right.
But this was awesome.
The main event of this WrestleCon show was the Golden Lovers against Chucky T and a mystery partner. We all got our hopes up way too high, and we were hoping.
The whole building thought Okada was going to come out.
We were waiting to hear the coin drop.
He's here.
And he's freaking in town. He should have just came out.
Right.
I didn't know he was here till today. I thought it was just wishful thinking. But now that
he was at the WrestleMania Access store yesterday.
Now that I know he's here and he was at Access and everything, I'm like, man, he should have just come out and worked that match. My God. But
just make Chucky T take the pin.
Right.
Like,
and but Flip Gordon ended up being Chucky T's mystery partner here.
Flip's been excellent this week too.
People hate
Well, the WrestleCon crowd hated Flip. The Ring of Honor crowd loves Flip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're different crowds. It's
different.
Yeah, different.
And Chucky T said the whole thing was he said he called Cody the real leader of the Bullet Club and said that if Flip helps beat the Golden Lovers, that he can get booked and All In.
He'll get booked for All In.
So, Flip was trying his best to make sure him and Chucky T got the win so he can be booked on All In.
On this show, this wasn't the best match of the night, but it was still an excellent 3.5-star match. And I mean, getting to see Kenny and Ibushi and chant Golden Lovers and see them come out was just it was a highlight for me.
Yeah.
They were right. We were so close. I mean, I just couldn't believe how much New Japan talent. By the way, when we went to this WrestleCon Super Show, we did not know that all these guys were going to be on it. It was a surprise, basically.
Right. We only knew that Golden Lovers and Chucky T match was the main event. We had no idea what all these other matches would be.
I think Ace by far got the lot. He was the most over guy.
Ace was the most over. I would say after that, maybe the Golden Lovers.
Yeah.
And that it speaks to that surprise factor, because it's one thing, you're advertised to go crazy, essentially. Yeah, I know I'm going to see Tanahashi, but he just shows up and it's holy fuck, Tanahashi is here. My life is, different now.
And then, so essentially the Golden Lovers ended up beating Chuck Taylor and Flip when they hit Flip with the Golden Trigger.
Golden Trigger.
And afterwards, they cut, Kenny cut an excellent promo. He talked about, to Flip, he basically said, that Trent and Chucky T are best friends. And then he pointed to himself and Coda, and he's like, but this is what love looks like. And he's like, Flip, one day you'll learn what that is. And he's like, you're not going to be on All In, basically, but good luck to you.
Yeah, so that was great.
One thing, too, this show ended up going head-to-head with Evolve 102. We were obviously not at that show, so it's WrestleMania weekend. You have to make some tough choices.
Yeah.
They had an excellent show, but one thing that I thought was worth noting, Will Ospreay worked the second match of that show, going head-to-head. He wrestled AR Fox, which, from what most reports and most fans I talked to, they said it was the match of that show, was Ospreay versus AR Fox. They said it was around 4 1/4. And then the dude gets in a car, doesn't even change, gets in a car, drives 30 minutes over to where we're at, and works the Super Show as a surprise entrant, and ends up, putting on another, near 4-star match right after almost, paralyzing himself just a week ago.
Yeah. This guy is insane.
Also, another thing worth mentioning, Zack Sabre Jr. was in the main event of that card, and he's the Evolve champion. He defended the title against the King of the Bros, Matt Riddle, in what also was reported to be a very quick but also very fun match. And Matt Riddle ended up submitting Zack Sabre Jr. to win the Evolve championship. So Zack Sabre Jr. no longer the Evolve champion. Big shock. A lot of people were not expecting that. It's kind of a big, a 2-year payoff for Matt Riddle in that company. So that was kind of a very telling thing. The fact that Zack defends his belt on that card, loses the belt. We were going to see him the next day defend his other belt, the Rev Pro Undisputed British Championship. But those were the two main matches. I heard Evolve 102 was great, but those were the two main matches that would be relevant to the ongoing careers and stories of New Japan. But this dude Will Ospreay, man, working in the same span of a couple hours, working 2 back-to-back matches
and going all out in both matches.
Yeah,
crazy. But Josh, you mentioned Rev Pro. That's the next show we're going to talk about.
And we welcome James into the discussion.
Yes, James was here at Rev Pro with us. First New Japan matchup we saw, there was a 6-man tag with Rocky Romero, Chucky T, and Will Ospreay, all from Chaos, taking on the team of Shane Swerve Strickland, Flip Gordon, and Kota Ibushi. James, what do you think about the 6-man tag match?
I thought it was a very fun opener. I thought it was really smart how they decided to hold off Ospreay and Ibushi's interaction. They teased it, and then they broke it up, and then they eventually got to it. And that 1 minute or 2 minutes of them going back and forth was just it was great. It's one of the best things I saw this entire weekend. If you guys get a chance on, I think WWE app is Rev Pro.
They actually have a Rev Pro app.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay. I suggest you get to it. Like, it's one of the best things of this weekend. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff for folks to see over this weekend and this past week and hell, this whole entire month of wrestling. But it's up there. It was great.
Which match was that?
We're talking about Rocky, Romero, Chucky T, and Will Ospreay.
Oh, the 6-man, yeah.
Yes. It was innovative. It was smart. Like, there was so much good wrestling, and it's almost like I'm kind of forgetting. There was so much good stuff that I'm kind of losing.
Memories.
What all happened? Like, but that one definitely stands out because, like, Ibushi's that dude, and Ospreay. This particular run it's incredible.
Yeah.
Then next up, we saw Menorah Suzuki against Jeff Cobb.
Yes.
Oh.
And dude, this match was another like hard hitting brawl between Suzuki and Cobb.
Yes.
So Cobb had that back to back of Ichi and then Suzuki after that.
Like, which is a hell of a back to back.
Who did he piss off to get those?
Yes. As far as their match, like it was great to see someone as big as Cobb get in the ring, and then given the presence of that Menorah Suzuki possesses, like it's totally you still buy that like those guys can throw strikes back and forth, and hell, like Menorah Suzuki saying you need to hit me harder because you need to bring it. You need to bring it, right? Because I'm
ready.
Right.
Yeah. And that was pretty much the whole entire sort of match. Of like you see this gigantic size difference, but you know, like because of wrestling, you know that like you've been educated that like the tougher motherfucker is Suzuki, and that was a cool juxtaposition. That's a cool that was a cool story that it was told. Was that it was a very fun match, and to me, I still can't get over the fact that like throughout this whole weekend, Menorah Suzuki has been like nothing but a nice person on earth.
Yes.
When I think when I watch him on NXT or on NXT, watch him on New Japan, like he's the most diabolical person on earth, on the planet.
Yeah.
Like if I was to choose somebody to fight my favorite babyface in the world right now, Johnny Gargano, it would be Menorah Suzuki.
Oh man!
I think that would be. I think the amount of danger that he would place Gargano in, like it would be interesting. Like, oh my god, like is he gonna kill this dude?
Yeah.
So I will say this. So I caught the tail end of this match and it was excellent, but there was a lot of the match that I winded up not seeing, and it was because I actually ended up meeting Rocky Romero outside, which was like a moment. I went to the bathroom,
Which is crazy because I met Chico.
Oh, did you?
What, you talk about Rocky, I'll talk about Chico.
Well, Rocky's Chico's manager.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
So and Chico was telling me to
contact Rocky.
So
so I just walked by and I was like, "Hey, Rocky, like, how you doing?" No one else was at his booth. Everyone was watching the matches. I was just going to the bathroom. He's like, "Hey." We started talking, and I was like, I've got this podcast. He's like, "Really?" So there. I won't give you guys too much spoilers, but basically, like, he was very supportive of what we're doing. There may be opportunities, from what he's told me, to work together down the line, which is like, okay, Rocky Romero of Chaos, who works in the New Japan office.
Yeah.
But he was the nicest, like, literally, like, the nicest guy in the world. And, like, he was like, he wanted to know what kind of numbers the show was doing, where he could find us, and how we could connect with New Japan, which, like, I just was going up to him as a fan, and I never even thought of that because I forgot, that he works in the office, and I was like, wow, this is like, WrestleMania is incredible. I met Don Callis.
Yeah.
Yes.
And got to talk to him about the show. Several other connects, but yeah, I was talking to Rocky Romero, and he was just the nicest guy in the world. He actually recorded an intro for our show. You guys might have heard that already, or you might be hearing it in the future. But that was just so cool. And then coming back and then just watching Suzuki just tear up like Jeff Cobb, I was like, yeah, Jeff Cobb did piss somebody off. No, you know what? He probably was loving it. Like he probably, it's probably like
sign me up.
It was probably such an honor to work with those two legends. Like, yeah. And that match was what? Like another 4. I didn't think it was as good as... I didn't think it was quite to the same level as Ishii versus Cobb.
Right.
But it was like just a notch below.
We have this at 3.75.
Yeah, so it wasn't quite as good, but it was very, 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 very good.
Yeah, so I walk up at WrestleCon, I walk up to Chico, right? And I'm like, Chico, can I rap for you? because I know Romero is his manager. Hopefully, he'll put in a good word, and I can build that relationship from there. So I walk up to Chico, and he asked me I'm like, hey Chico, can I rap for you? He's like, for sure, man, go ahead. So I literally drop a freestyle about Chico and his entire career and everything like that, and he asked me, says, hey, I'm doing a documentary about my career, my life. Would you like to be on it? So I'm like, well, hell yeah, I want to be on it. Like, what am I supposed to say? No, and from there, I cut a promo and talk about how Chico and I we share similar philosophies in life. He told me he told me to send a message over to his manager Rocky, and we'll possibly be working on something together soon, and on the musical end. But I had to sign a waiver for the documentary, so if I make it in, I will make sure to let you guys know.
And you're rocking the Social Suplex T-shirt.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
nice.
we got to wear our Social Suplex T-shirts on Friday, and a lot of people were wondering about what that was.
Yeah, I mean,
they find us.
And Josh, you even ran into some people who actually knew who we were and listened to our network.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the show later, but we were at the Joey Janela Spring Break, and there was a kid. There's a kid who saw the shirt, and he's like, Social Suplex, like you're from Social Suplex, and I was like, yeah. He's like, who are you? And I was like, my name's Josh. He's like, you do Keepin It Strong Style. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh man. He was like, do you know Voices of Wrestling? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, Joe Lanza's here. You got to meet Joe Lanza. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And he took us over, and I met Joe, and Joe was like the nicest guy. And it was just really cool because we got to talk, and obviously their network has been around a bit longer, and we got to kind of talk. He got to give me some tips, and we got to talk a little bit about just what we do. And I got to tell him hey, look, this is a mark out moment for me, Joe Lanza, because I listen to your show, and I'm marking out more about meeting you than some of the wrestlers that I interacted with.
Some we'll get to later.
Yeah,
someone else.
But there was I also got to just tell him about for instance, I've shown you, Rich, the rant that he did about how Vince McMahon is just an incredible businessman and has a terrible mind for the business. And
Correct. Yes.
It's legendary. Yes. But yeah, really, really cool to meet him. But just that people know what our shirts mean or something was
right.
I never expected that.
Right, it's crazy.
And so many people were curious about them too.
Yeah.
They didn't know, and then it was just expanding more in different parts of the world. Shout out to Jordan from the UK, who I was talking to for much of the Rev Pro show.
Oh, that's right. He was cool.
Yeah, so shot him some of that information. I met another guy when we were just sitting on Canal Street from DC. We met a guy from Oregon.
Also on our Canal Street,
brand.
we ran into Kyrie Sane.
Correct.
And
oh my God,
looking great, and she was digging the Social Suplex shirts also.
Yeah, so shout out to Kyrie Sane. For
sure.
Maybe we'll send her one.
Yeah.
We can do that. Yeah.
So back to Rev Pro. Next up, there was Aussie Open against Tanahashi and Juice Robinson.
Really good match.
James, this was your first time seeing Tanahashi of the weekend. What were you feeling?
It was great. It was really fun. And also, Josh already told me the story about how he has a special connection with Tanahashi. So when he did the actual point this time, it was the second time around, he thought he actually pointed at him. I bust out laughing because Josh was really into it this week. He amongst other things, so it was really fun.
He wasn't really pointing at me that time,
but you still acting like he did. So that's why I laughed so hard at it.
But I was like, he's still pointing at me. We're connected.
Yeah, on another level.
Yeah.
But seriously, guys, me and the Ace really do have a special connection.
Same here.
Oh man.
But what was it like? What were your impressions seeing him and Juice? What did you think of the match? But essentially, because you've never seen him before.
Yeah, it was a good match. It was more just being it off wow, this it was really weird seeing all the New Japan guys and you've seen them and if you've watched New Japan you see all of these guys that have all these phenomenal matches and you're a person that grew up or was educated on WWE whatever, so you kind of have a different. You're gonna have a different respect for those guys, be able to go out there on a consistent basis and have different such a higher caliber of match almost. So whereas you see them and you're just kind of yo, I can't believe these dudes here. I can't, last year when we did this in Orlando, they weren't here like that.
Right.
So
Right.
So it definitely added something to the card. I forgot who were the guys that were wrestling.
Aussie Open.
Yeah, it's a tag team from Rev Pro. It's a normal tag team, I guess.
You know, it's weird. That kid. So we met Chris and Ben from Australia.
Yeah.
What up, guys?
And what's up, guys? We'll talk more about that. But like, they knew Aussie Open, and like Aussie Open walked by and like saw Chris, and they're like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Who is that?" And he's like, "Oh, that's Aussie Open. I'm friends with them." And I was like, "What?" What you were saying, James?
Yeah, so it's sort of weird where it's like, I'm not familiar with the Rev Pro product, so I really can't judge it, but I know Juice, and I know what Tanahashi brings to the table, so I'm kind of like, oh man, maybe they squash him, I don't know. Clearly there's somebody's in that promotion, and they brought in two ringers to have an exhibition with, but we'll still watch it and see, the match, in the match with High Five Flow. It was cool to see all that stuff. It's cool to see the sling blade and everything else, and a little bit of air guitar as well.
Yeah.
And I'll see.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think, what match was it that we saw where we actually saw the Pope Friction? Was that a different card?
I saw Juice wrestle 3 times that weekend.
Yeah, Juice, super nice guy.
I think it was that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, it was
Juice Robinson, cool as fuck, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Juice was really, really
Yeah, we
really
talked
cool.
to Juice Robinson at WrestleCon and at the WrestleCon Super Show, and he was super nice, and he was happy that he won the Most Improved on our year-end awards. So yeah,
it was cool that you told him about that.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh man," he's so happy about it. He's like, glad that everybody voted for me. Thank you for letting me win that award.
Yeah, so if you're a listener and you voted in those awards, you put Juice over, and he appreciates each and every one of your votes.
Yes.
All right, then the main event of the evening was for the British Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Sabre Jr., defending against the Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii.
Excellent. Just another excellent match. This is the third match I've seen between them. The first match live, they wrestled in the G1, and there was a ref stoppage in that match. They wrestled during the G1 in the USA special. I think we all saw that match. It was really, really, unexpectedly really good. That's the first time they met. And so this is kind of like the rubber match. And didn't he just tap out Ishii a few weeks ago?
Yeah, in a multi-man tag match,
in a tag match. And, Ishii came for that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he came for that crown, bro.
Yeah.
What were your guys' thoughts about this match?
He made me enjoy Sabre Jr., which was something that I didn't know that was possible. He found a way to fight through all those sissy ass wrist locks and everything else that Sabre did to bore us to tears. The bell rings, and within 30 seconds he's sitting on the mat. But I digress. Ishii, back-to-back days. First with Jeff Cobb, and then with Ishii. It felt like, damn, we got to see Ichi win a fucking title in person. That was
that was a big deal.
Yeah.
This actually is a major title in that company. I mean, Shibata wore that title.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. James, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I thought that in a match where, Ishii's it's sort of weird because, what match kind of is where, takes a lot of damage, eventually fires up, and then it's on. But it was interesting to see how they melded those two things together with all of the I call Sabre's offense, I call it keep away. This guy that he's wrestling with has offensive moveset that is probably explosive and dynamic, and his whole idea of the entertaining wrestling is to stop you from doing that and lay on the mat, right?
Yep.
So I thought they were able to. Mesh both of those into an entertaining story, and I think honestly that's my favorite Sabre match. I only have two ones that I like, but it's my favorite one. And he happened to actually be able to do them in the last 2 weeks, both of them. So progress, I guess.
I'll get to it in a little bit, but that actually was the second best Sabre Jr. match that I saw this weekend. But we did see Zach lose both. Well, we didn't see him lose the Evolve title, but he lost the Evolve title, And then we got to see him lose the British Undisputed Championship for Rev Pro.
And we found out that the reason why he's coming off all these belts, Sabre has signed a full-time New Japan contract. So that's why he lost the Evolve title to Riddle. That's why he dropped the British title here to Ishii.
And he lost... Well, I guess he lost that. Never mind.
Yeah, so we'll be seeing Sabre more in New Japan this year. He's lined up to be in the G1 Climax 28 this year.
We actually got to meet him.
Yeah, we talked to him after the WWN Super Show. And he was actually super nice.
Really, really nice, and he was supportive of the show too. We got to tell him that,
that he was the wrestler of the month for March.
Yeah, he was. He thought it was really cool. And then we're like, good luck in the G1. And he was like, oh my god, like that's right around the corner, isn't it? He's like, don't talk to me about the G1. But that guy he was another one of those guys had just an insane schedule. I think I saw him like wrestle 5 times this week. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know who else was at the show? We all, kind of look up to these guys in a certain way and follow their work. Uncle Dave was there.
Right.
And
Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez from the
Alvarez.
Wrestling Observer, man. That was awesome. And, dude, as soon as Uncle Dave rolled in with the laptop bag, everybody
I was the first
popped.
time I noticed him. I was like, there's Dave Meltzer.
And you're pointing him out and started yelling. I'm like, bro, let him chill. Let him just walk in and at least set up. And then he's like, he starts getting loud, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's like,
Uncle Dave.
Uncle Dave.
Yes.
Uncle Dave.
Of course.
And then so in the middle of a was it in the middle of a 6-way?
Yeah.
No, the 6-man tag?
It was
in the middle of it. So in the middle of the 6-man tag, Dave has to wave so the crowd can pop and then get back to focusing on the people in the ring that are busting their ass.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm like, damn, man.
It's not our fault that he's a superstar.
Yeah.
How
I worked
is
out meeting Meltzer more than a lot of the wrestlers.
Right. That man was, looking vascular, pal, up there.
So Dave showed up and I immediately was like, yo, I'm going to talk to Dave. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Dave Meltzer was so gracious, with his time, with everyone that wanted to talk to him and take a picture. And Dave wasn't selling anything. Dave was just there chilling. And I guess he realizes that, we all like him. We all like his work. And we're all just trying to be appreciative, and he's appreciative of us. And Brian Alvarez was the same way.
Yeah, Brian Alvarez is super cool. Sometimes you hear him go on these rants, and you're like, you never know how people are going to be in person, whether he's going to be cool or not. But he was super cool and really nice to meet, and just talking to both those guys, how much they inspire us. And we hope one day we can build Social Suplex up to something to the level of Wrestling Observer. So just being able to share that with them and take pictures and chat with them was pretty cool.
Yeah, I told Alvarez, and this is Rich from One Nation Radio, I was like, yo, the way, we kind of, run our podcast, I'm you, and, James is Meltzer, so...
Is that what it is? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's...
I'm the Meltzer of our group.
Yeah, I'm the Alvarez and Josh is Meltzer.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, that was incredible. That show actually also went head to head with Evolve 103. So we didn't get to go to any Evolve shows during this weekend or anything of that nature.
Sorry, player.
Yeah, but which I would have loved to because I've never been to an Evolve show. But with that being said, they had Daisuke Sekimoto and Munenori Sawa wrestling for them all weekend, which were also 2 guys that we got to meet this weekend, or at least I did. I don't know if you guys got to talk to them or see them.
I did not. But those guys were on the WWN Super Show. Masawa took on Sabre Jr. Mm-hmm. The match was okay. We rated 3.25. It's just Sabre once again trying to get Masawa in submission holes.
It was a little disappointing because Munenori Sawa is one of the greatest shoot wrestlers that has ever lived, and I almost would have hoped that the match would have been dictated more to that style in general, but they kind of wrestled Zach's match, and so it just didn't, plus honestly, Sawa and Sekimoto are not to the level as far as popularity as some of the New Japan guys, so I don't think a lot of the crowd knew who they were either. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even the diehards still kind of don't know.
I mean, honestly, I had no idea who Sawa was until you told me about him and Daisuke, so...
we did get to see Zack Sabre submit him, though, which is kind of a big deal because he's a shoot legend, and he beat him with that orienteering.
Oh.
Yeah. or not orienteering with Napalm Death submission holds. That was cool.
Yeah, then Daisuke took on Keith Lee.
Great match.
Yeah, that was the first time I got to see Keith Lee live, and he was awesome. And James, I think you really enjoyed Keith Lee too, didn't you?
Yeah, like guys that I've more or less heard of but never seen wrestle were both Walter and Keith Lee, and they're both on this card. And you hear about guys, you kind of hear their style, and you almost kind of get the whole like myth vibe of them, like how they work. And you hear about the Keith Lee and also guys like Walter, like they're big gigantic dudes that that clobber the fuck out of you and chop you to death. And but they can also work. They're not just lumbering guys, and they're really good technically. And yeah, I saw the Keith Lee match with Sakamoto, who's also like wide as like I don't know, as wide as him. They're just gigantic guys that just clobber each other, which is pretty much that's like the best of wrestling. We always joke about like the Ming versus Giant thing, like two gigantic dudes that are literally clobbering each other, and you buy it, and you can suspend. It's really easy for you to sit there and suspend your disbelief. And they had a hell of a match.
Rich, your thoughts on Keith Lee?
I actually ended up buying a Keith Lee shirt. So yeah, I was definitely a fan.
Yeah, man, Keith Lee is super impressive. Just seeing the way, and I don't think he's been wrestling all that long,
right?
If I'm not mistaken. Just seeing the way like he is like a bigger, athletic guy, and he's like gonna be like honestly, I thought he should have like debuted in like retired Mark Henry or something like that, like in WWE. Like he's like the level of athlete rare for his size, and I look forward to like continuing to see him. But the match he had with Sakamoto was like
hard hitting,
understatement,
and they were so impressive. Like because like coming off the top rope, flipping. It's not just about it's not just about Keith Lee because the Sakamoto is incredible too. Like for him to be a dude that is like, and I bought the shirt from Keith Lee personally, like to stand next to him and know like I'm 6'4". He's legit like that height too, right? Yeah. And then to see like that kind of somebody that wide, that big, and then like for Daisuke to throw that dude around also, like that was really impressive. That was one of those things where it's like, how has Vince McMahon not seen these two and not like how's that not been booked on his show? Right? You always talk about like he loves him some big dudes, and like if you saw that he'd be like, God. Fully erect. Full erection.
Look at him.
They're huge.
It was one of those things where I think I predicted this would be match of the weekend. It didn't quite live up to that, but in no way did this match disappoint whatsoever. Being able to see Sakamoto for me was like, this is another guy who I've been wanting to see for years and haven't been able to, and I'm like, wow, this is it's Daisuke. He's from Big Japan. Like, this is incredible. And that was a dream match, so they'll probably never happen again. So, I mean, being able to say, like, yeah, I was there, I saw it happen, and those guys just went to war. It was like, and it was another thing that I liked about the match. I don't think a lot of people knew who Sakamoto was. But by the end of the match, they were definitely chanting his name. So he got himself over in that match because that match was great.
Yes, and with Keith Lee, there are rumors that he is NXT bound. If he's not, he would be a guy I would love to see in the G1 this year as a new Gaijin.
Well, we found out last minute he was working the Access shows.
Right, yeah, he wrestled Cassius Ohno. Defended the WWN title against Cassius Ohno.
No, he lost it.
Well, he defended it against Ohno, but then he lost it to Austin Theory later.
I don't know. I thought it was the other way around. I thought he lost the title and then went in without the championship.
Oh, maybe he did.
Because it was a morning show.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I could be wrong. I'd have to take a look. But yeah, I think he lost all day that day.
Yeah, because he cut in the promo. He's like, yeah, I'm tired. I've been tired of getting my ass whooped all day today.
Yeah, I think he lost to Access. I think he lost.
That's a little unbelievable. I don't know exactly who's going to be whooping Keith Lee.
Austin Theory did, who's another guy that
is NXT
he's
bound.
probably going to NXT one of these days. So
Then the main event of the show was Matt Riddle against Will Ospreay, the King of Bros against the King of Flight. And wow.
Yes.
This match was amazing. Once again, Ospreay proving that he wants the crowd, and Matt Riddle
does too.
Yeah, both these guys want to be like the best wrestlers in the world, and I love Riddle's style. The kind of the mix of the shoot style with a lot of the knee strikes, a lot of suplexes, and
Matt Riddle's a motherfucking superstar.
Can someone say Kurt Angle?
Oh yeah, definitely reminds me of Angle. How quickly he has adapted to pro wrestling and how quickly he's gotten over. And he was,
bro. He's everything that like a wrestling superstar should be. Like, he has the look, he has like the uniqueness of, you know, what he brings to the ring. Like we would clown dudes for not wearing shoes, right?
His stuff's believable. He doesn't do anything that's necessarily like the most flash things in the world, but like they do pop. You do pop for it.
Right.
Like his stuff is really like simple.
He showed a viciousness in there with
Ospreay. Yeah,
we might as well just like jump to that part.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, if you guys know that Ospreay did the Spanish fly off the apron against Skrull last week and injured his neck. So that's been a story in a lot of his matches this weekend. Well, Riddle did go after the neck. There was one point where Ospreay did tease the Spanish fly off the apron again, but Riddle German suplexed him on the apron.
I hope he never does the German or the Spanish fly there ever again.
Yeah, and then after that spot, there was a spot where they ended up going to the top rope, and Ospreay was on Riddle's back, like in a sleeper position. Or no, Ospreay was.
Yeah, it was a rear naked choke.
Yeah, but it was Riddle had the choke on.
Riddle had the choke on
Ospreay.
And Ospreay started climbing the turnbuckles.
Yeah, and then Matt Riddle just like jumped off and like sleeper suplexed him off the top. And
I thought it was the other. What I thought, and it could just be what I thought. I assumed that it was Ospreay trying to get him off of himself.
Yeah.
So throwing himself back off of the top rope, but he essentially turned it into like what would be like, I don't know, like a sleeper suplex.
Yeah.
Dropped him right on his head. And
immediately everybody like gasped and got up. Like we thought Ospreay was seriously hurt. Then they had like 3 or 4 referees like running the ring.
I mean, it was a very, 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 very hushed moment. Everyone was standing. People were legitimately worried about him. I looked over at James. James' face looked like...
I was horrified. Absolutely horrified.
Yeah.
Like, I thought,
James was like dead quiet, and then he goes, "Oh no!"
I was absolutely horrified because, you know, anybody that has... It is a great job by them. Like, anybody that has followed or knew what happened last week with him knows how damaged and how, like, you know, how messed up his neck and his head was, and then... You knew about the concerns about whether or not he was actually going to be able to even do any of these, even come to New Orleans, do his matches or whatever.
So many people bought it.
Yeah. Like, I bought it 100%.
Oh, I bought it.
And like, you know, I was like, you know, he landed so high. He landed so high at such a high angle on his back, neck, and head that I was just like, yo, and he didn't move an inch. So I'm like, oh my god, this fucker's paralyzed. Like, well, he landed so high at the beginning on impact. You're like, oh my god, like. This was supposed to happen. And then, like, he lays there and the whole thing plays through, and you're just like, oh my god, something went bad. This is bad. And then, you know, they went through and finished with the match. I'm thinking, like, there's no way they passed. And I say to Josh, I looked over, like, there's no way that they top this, whatever. Like, once they kicked out of Riddle, you know, lays something big on him and goes to put him away. And I'm thinking, like, no way they top this, like, the emotion of this, if that was his finish. And then they went another, what do you say, like 4 or 5 minutes?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
And sure enough, it went a whole other level.
Like, Riddle came out there and destroyed him with knees, chokes, slams, like kicks, and just like took it all the way up. Like,
it turned from like being a, you know, like an
really
indie
good
match
match to like a certified classic.
Yeah.
Like an all-timer. Like, if you guys have not seen this match, please watch it. And then watch how everyone in the building is standing up watching it.
Yes, like the last 5
minutes.
Because it was less than 10 minutes, but like someone like last like 7-8 minutes of that match. Everyone is on their feet, and they don't, and they stay there the whole rest of the way. Like, it was like it reminded me of Gargano Almas from Philadelphia,
right?
Where it's like
that final level of Nirvana, like
the
watching a 5-star match.
The last part of this match, like the whole entire arena is on his feet, just like in awe.
Yeah.
Well, we walked past Dave, and Rich was like, "What did you say to him?"
I was like, "Hey, Dave, man, please give that 5 stars." He was like, "Man, I don't know, but it was really good." Like, yeah.
You gotta keep in mind with him is like all the wrestling he sees. He has to watch so much of that stuff compared to like even us, who we were those begin like this has to be like he has to just be completely. It has to be hard to be like completely into where you can not be desensitized by so much of the good wrestling that's out here and available.
All I know is that it was a special moment.
Yeah, it was.
Felt special.
Yes, like it felt like it should have been on something big. Like if that happened in a WWE ring, like that's people have been talking about that match for years.
Yeah.
Years.
So
I was talking to Ron Nemi, who's a commentator for Evolve, like pretty much about how everyone like believed it and the work of it. He was like the only thing that kind of tipped him off was how all the referees like hit the ring at once, or whatever.
Like they're all like the geeks. It was like geeks.
Yeah.
It was like I don't know if they would have done that, but like they damn near got him too. And this dude's been in wrestling for 30 years. So what up, Ron?
So yeah, that's WWN Super Show. If you are a member of the WWN streaming service, please go watch that match if you haven't already. And then next up, we had Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor last night. Things opened up. We had Chucky T accompanied by the injured Trent Beretta taking on John Gresham. Fun opener match. John Gresham almost killed himself doing a suicide dive on Chucky T. But he was able to recover and finish the match.
Hi, Jordan.
oh my god!
Like it was a horrific spot. It was a night of a bunch of horrific falls, but especially you're looking at you punching Martinez. My god! But everyone was concerned and worried. But like eventually he got up and showed the crowd and walked off like to show the crowd like, hey, I'm okay. And then we because everyone was horrified. And then everyone went to went back into the match was happy the dude was up and walking.
Right.
That was a bad fall.
Yeah. But yeah, nothing too really special about this match. It was a fun little opener, and Chucky T got the win on John Gresham. Then next up, we had Stone Pitbull Ishii taking on Punishment Martinez.
Yeah.
And this was a really, really good match. We've been joking for a while now, like we want to trade Punishment Martinez with Baron Corbin.
Yes.
No, we don't. We want him. We want him on this side.
Serious question, right? If there were draft picks, right? If this was NBA or NFL or sports or whatever, right? How much more stuff would you have to put with Baron Corbin in a package to get Punishment Martinez to WWE?
Jesus,
we had to put a first round draft. If it's NBA, we had to put a first round draft pick.
You would have to trade. Like you have to trade Baron Corbin, a first round pick in cash, and a conditional second round pick for Punishment Martinez.
Can you get a protection on the first rounder?
Yes.
You sure you get protection?
How's that all work again?
Okay, like if
it falls less than 3.
Yeah, like if you get the top 5 protection, top 3 protection, top 10 protection. Yeah, you can get it on any arbitrary number you wanted at.
Yeah.
I would say you could probably get a first rounder top 3 protected. I don't think you can get. I don't know, man. Like it's really that big of a difference.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
I'm sorry.
Like I'm like sports. What's that? I don't know about wrestling.
Right.
Wow. The best sport of them all.
Right.
The king of sports.
But yeah, Punishment Martinez was out here flipping all over the place. It's crazy seeing a guy his size doing these big tope dives and tope flip dive.
Horrific one that he did. Which one was the one that which one was the Undertaker WrestleMania 25 suicide dive that they just crashed and burned on your neck?
Yeah.
Was that the first dive?
That was the first one.
The very first one. So he gets him immediately. He springs him right up after doing it. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? Back to back, and then springs right up. Like, what is? I want whatever was built out of these dudes' bodies or whatever. I want to put it on my knees because I can, so I can play basketball on the basis, in my leisure. It was nuts, and then it was really weird to see a dude kind of out. I mean, because of how crazy the stuff he was doing, kind of outshine Ichi in the match.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy seeing Ishii just get beat down so much. I mean, Punishment's so much taller than him, and was no-selling a lot of Ishii's strikes and was just like...
I think that was a big favor from Ishii to go come to America
He gave him a lot.
and to do that for him, because that adds a lot to the package of Punishment Martinez.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say about that performance last night is like that dude wrestled in complete total awareness that like this is the biggest match of my career. I can get a name for myself or whatever. And he damn sure wrestled like it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that for someone like this could get me to the next level.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take full advantage of that.
This is something you see. We've talked about it just a few weeks ago with how generous everybody was during the New Japan Cup, but you see it time and time again with these New Japan guys where they could come out and they could make someone look bad. They could come out and say, "No, I'm going to do a screw job finish," or what have you. Nah, man. They come out there and they
beat me with your finish, clean the
they
middle.
do business, and they make someone look like $1 million. And then you know what? They come out and they get themselves right back over, and no one calls it a burial because they're superstars and they can't be affected by a loss on a big show like that.
Right.
And that's how wrestling should be booked. I mean, this was a testament to Ishii and his willingness to put guys over. I mean, essentially, Ishii has been somewhat of a glorified jobber for New Japan. He's a utility guy, and I mean, he makes stars.
Yeah.
He makes stars. So, I mean, this was another just excellent match from him.
3 days in a row.
3 days in a row.
It was like, it was Cobb, it was Sabre, and then Punishment Martinez. Like,
Yeah.
everything, like either 4, 4.5,
Nothing was
4
under,
and a quarter.
Nothing
like,
was under 4.
Yeah.
The whole weekend.
Who would you... Well, we'll save this question for later.
We'll talk about we'll do wrap up at the end. But
Jesus. Like, there's so many guys to choose from. Like, who was the MVP of this week?
Speaking of MVPs, next we had the Golden Star Kota Ibushi against Hangman Page.
Fuck yeah.
Oh my gosh. And, you know, we keep talking about how improved Hangman Page has been got.
This is the best Hangman Page match I've ever seen.
Yeah, Hangman Page is another guy that took this opportunity against Kota Ibushi to elevate himself, and that's what he did here. And this was just another great match. You know, got to see the Golden Triangle moonsault from Kota Ibushi.
That's awesome.
Yes,
we got to see the Golden Triangle moonsault from Adam Page.
Yeah, Adam Page had his own version.
So that big German suplex that Ibushi gave Page.
Off the railing. Oh my god,
that was so scary. I was like, what is it with people in infatuation on hard surfaces and wanting the people drop people on their necks and heads? Like, I think I yelled, "That's fucking stupid!" out loud. Yeah. And then they continued, and then they kept going. It was a great match.
That match ruled. That match ruled. That's all I can say.
That
about
match
it.
fucked.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot this week.
Yes, a whole lot.
It was something it was a joke that I made up for Juice. If you're a listener here, that's Juice's gimmick. But
it's kind of gone another way now.
Apparently now it's gone another way. Now apparently everything does.
Yeah.
Anything that's good, that fucks. If it's bad, it sucks. So.
Oh my gosh.
Dichotomy.
What up, Caleb?
And Ibushi got the win here with the Kamigoye.
Oh, it was awesome.
Oh
Yes.
man, but
And it was a fight to get there. Like
the false finishes.
Yes.
yes.
It was a fight to get there. Like, you know, he landed the big power bomb. Didn't work, so he goes to the Kamigoye, and like, you know, Adam Page is like, if he lands, I'm done.
Yeah.
And he's able to fight and get away from it, and then. But he was able to keep wrist control on one arm, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually they went through a couple, things, and then like eventually he got him, and it was it.
Wow.
It was great.
Being able, this is another example where yes, Ibushi got the win here, but he
elevated Hangman.
He made Hangman look like a star.
Hangman will be a star.
Hangman will be a star, but you know the jury's been out, the verdict's been out. We've been waiting. This is the match of his career so far, and I'm expecting greater things in the future. But this is a pivotal moment for him.
And Hangman gets Omega next month, so it's going to be like I'm way higher on Hangman than I am on Jay White.
Yeah.
Why you gotta do that? we're having such a good show, moving things along, and you gotta.
We know it's true.
And you gotta bring up Switchblade.
Yeah.
Listen, the views and opinions of One Nation Radio do not necessarily reflect
the views of Keeping It Strong Style.
Hell, the views and opinions of
Rich
Latta Radio don't even necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Jay Wood on One Nation Radio.
They do not.
I'm in that boat where y'all were like, look, man, show some patience.
Yeah.
Like, give it time.
They do not reflect the views and opinions of the Social
Suplex
Podcasting Network. Viewer discretion.
Y'all want to find out the truth? Type it in on Twitter. You'll see.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right, then.
Can we get that dude at least one full year?
Right.
Write him off completely. Damn.
Nah, he's bringing down the star rating scale.
Hey, I mean, if he wants to be the new 3-star savior, I mean, you know.
Oh man! So next up, we had Ladder War for the ROH 6-man tag team titles.
Pure chaos.
It was the champion SoCal Uncensored, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky, who we also ran into on the street. He's pretty cool. They were defending the titles against the team of the Young Bucks and Flip Gordon.
Had a bad one with him too.
Oh,
I see you, Scorpio.
You might be out here, putting that man,
business.
might be heating the streets over that one, bro. I know. Wait, I wasn't on that trip. Who was you with?
Oh my gosh! But yeah, dude, this Ladder War match was insane.
Yeah, man. Like, Young Bucks, they're made for ladder matches. Flip Gordon don't give a damn by himself.
Yeah, there was a scary spot for Flip where he did a springboard and jumped up onto the turnbuckle, on top of the turnbuckle, and he was
went to the post. He went to hop to the post.
Yeah,
he was going to do some type of flip deal, but he lost balance, was only on one foot, and then he still decided on one foot. Fuck it, I'm out. I'm about to fall off. He was maybe jump on all the people below me in some weird awkward flip thing, and it still worked, but it was like, just by the grace of God it did. Otherwise, he's gonna fall over and land on his hip or something.
Yeah, and then just all the crazy ladder bumps. There's a spot where Christopher Daniels and Matt Jackson are fighting on top of the ladder, and Matt Jackson got pushed off of the ladder, but ended up doing an elbow drop, I believe, to Kazarian.
Yes,
that was out on the table.
It was for those that are that remember. It was very similar to the WrestleMania 32 Intercontinental Ladder match, where Sin Cara, where Cody Sin Cara lands on Cody.
Yeah.
On a ladder bridge, it was very similar to that. Except instead of on a ladder bridge, it was on a table, and it was elbow drop instead of just a flat splash. It was I feel bad. I don't even want to know how he felt waking up in the morning on his tailbone.
Yeah, all 6 of those dudes, I know, must have been feeling really rough this morning.
It's interesting though too with this match how the Young Bucks are caught up obviously in the Golden Lovers and the Bullet Club drama Civil War storyline, but then they have this other stuff going on Ring of Honor TV that's in its own little side venture. Like, this didn't further the storyline of the Civil War at all.
Right, it's just this whole feud of SoCal Uncensored that they've been having.
And the Kingdom.
Yeah.
And then, their budding friendship with Flip Gordon, which is kind of branched out of their
being the elite.
Yeah, so they've got so many interweaving storylines in what they're doing as performers and storytellers. It's just very different. It's crazy. But this match, now I will say this. A lot of people are very high on the match. I'm high on the match too. I'm not going to knock the match at all, and I'm not going to knock the performances, but I don't think it was as high as the 2 ladder matches they had last year, where a lot of people are already starting to say this match of the year, things like that. And I'm like, well, it's very, 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 very good match, but it's not quite to that level, I would say, right now.
And James, you mentioned this. It's so hard to rate these multi-man ladder matches. They're doing so much and just bumping all over the place and going through ladders, going through tables, risking their lives. And
especially at this pit, the pace that they were working. I don't want to sound like Jim Ross or any other person that's that does the you guys can slow the fuck down. But there was so much stuff that kept happening that you kind of wow, that was crazy. And then, like 5 minutes later, you kind of forgot what the fuck just happened because they did so much in this match. They it literally was kitchen sink. It was obviously, not every match is meant to be completely. Everything's supposed to mean something, all that kind of stuff. But like for a match, if you just want to watch and just want to just see a train wreck in a good way, of seeing like just what are the possibilities if you open up everything and just do everything you possibly can. That's a match to check out and enjoy. And like you can say whatever people gotta say about how good or how if it's not the greatest thing ever. Don't ever mind that. It's really impossible to watch that match and not enjoy it. It really is.
I think you'd be hard pressed to say that won't end up being one of the top 5 or top 10 like Ring of Honor matches this year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was definitely excellent. But I didn't necessarily, and maybe now we'll have to rewatch it, of course. But I didn't think it was. I liked the Adam Page and Ibushi match better.
Same here.
Yeah. Well, it's so different.
You were right. By that point, we were right in the middle of the groove for that card.
Yeah.
So it was like,
whoa, everything's really. We saw 3-4 stars in a row, and it was like, yo, this shit's lit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to judge a one-on-one. It's hard to judge a one-on-one match against a ladder match.
Because that's absolutely.
It true. Is, but I'm up to the task. And Ibushi and Adam Page was better.
I mean, for me,
but not by much.
For me, I will say is like, as someone that saw
the same rating. My fault.
Yeah, but for me, I would say that like, it is still like Ibushi in the singles match. I would say, and Adam Page was definitely game. Right, and that's the only Ibushi singles match we saw all weekend.
Yeah.
Everything else was tag matches and multi-man matches. So
I forgot he was on the card, and then he came. I forgot he was on the card. You just this whole entire weekend, I was like, I get a Supercard of Honor. The only thing that I really remember was on this match was like Ichi was going to be there, Tanahashi was going to be there, and then I knew that Cody and Kenny was on the card, right? I thought that was the main event, but whatever. So
we'll get to that later.
So I saw that, and I was like, all of a sudden I saw like it's like, wait a second. And all of a sudden I saw the graphic, and all of a sudden I see like the blue graphic, and all of a sudden I see like the gold star. Wait, like holy shit! It's a boost on this card. and then I was like, okay, all right, fine. So like, for me personally, to see him in a singles match or see him wrestle as much as possible, like that was a big thing for me for this weekend, was to see like the Japanese guys, the great Japanese guys, come over, like to have like 4 of the big 6 over here or whatever. That was a big thing for me.
How about how great it was that we got to, in high pitched voices, rhythmically clap and say
Ibushi, Ibushi, Ibushi.
It never seemed to catch on. But just the fact
it caught on for us.
Yeah.
The fact that we got to do
you
that.
You guys are popping yourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't participate in this stuff like they were. Like, they were popping themselves. Yes. Look, if you can have fun with yourself, then cool.
During like the first time we saw like Ibushi wrestle, I was like, Ibushi! And like, I loved it.
Yeah,
I was
my gosh, it was great.
Because I love those guys. Like, that's why we do this. And just being able to see them and chant their names and talk to them, it's just excellent.
Yeah. So, SoCal Uncensored ended up retaining the 6-man tag titles in that ladder war. And then following that, we had the Ring of Honor World Tag titles on the line. Jay and Mark Briscoe defended against the Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Jay Lethal. Kind of a dream team. Top guy from New Japan, top guy from Ring of Honor. And this was another very solid tag match. And there's a lot of great false finishes. There's points where I actually thought that Tanahashi and Jay Lethal were going to win these ROH World Tag titles.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Every time they almost won, I was like, how's that going to work? But
like, he's going to be showing back up to do tag matches?
Yeah.
That's the only thing. He would almost win, and I would start to believe it, and I'm like, how's this going to work? And then he wouldn't win, and I'm like, okay.
So yeah, it was great seeing the Ace once again.
I believe he pointed at me this time. So.
He did look up at our section, though.
Yeah. They are really doing this.
Ace was rocking with us all weekend.
We have a special
It's
connection.
Squad.
Hey, I had an interview with that man. He was looking out.
I'm friends with Tanahashi.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. I love Tanahashi more than I ever knew that I did. Like, he's so cool. He's got the perfect hair. He plays air guitar. He's muscular. He saved New Japan. He's the hero. He's the ace of the century.
Ace Ichiban.
He's the best. I love him.
But unfortunately, the Ace and Lethal couldn't pull it out here. The Briscoes ended up retaining.
This is the match where people started chanting BS at the end, wasn't it? At the finish?
No,
that was a different match.
Yeah, Briscoes won clean. They hit the Doomsday device on Jay Lethal.
Oh, that's
and
right.
got the pin.
Well, the right guy took the fall there.
Obviously Tanahashi wasn't getting pinned by Briscoe. But
yeah, we didn't see Tanahashi.
Tanahashi gonna do a job for.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so it was a solid match. We gave it 3.75. Then next up, we had kind of not so great a match with Silas Young and Kenny King.
Next.
And Last Man Standing.
Sure.
Yeah, they kind of ruined our Last Man Standing theory.
The Last Man Standing theory that you can't have a bad Last Man Standing match.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
It's very hard.
They can be the exception.
Yeah, they're the exception, not the rule.
It might be something where if we watch it, it might come off better. I do have a feeling like it's hard to judge things live versus on TV, but it didn't seem like it was a good match at all.
Yeah,
which was crazy.
Yeah. Then we had
but speaking of which, how about Austin Aries came out?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Austin Aries came out before the match because at the last pay-per-view, Austin Aries came out and challenged Kenny King because Aries is a belt collector and he wants the ROH TV title is the one ROH belt he's never held. So he wants to hold a TV title.
Making him a Grand Slam champion.
Right. And then, so, once again, he came out and said he wants a winner of this TV title match, whether it's King or Silas Young. And then he did commentary. And post-match, Silas Young and Bear City Bruiser were beating on Kenny King, and Aries made the save. If you watched Ring of Honor for a while, you knew that Kenny King and Austin Aries used to be in the stable together. So they're kind of realigned, and it looks like at some point it'll be Aries versus Silas Young for the TV title.
Yeah, I actually met Austin Aries Friday morning during the Crash, and I got to see all his belts, which was really cool, and I got to talk to him, and I was like, so what's the deal? Are you coming to New Japan? You coming to Ring of Honor? You leaving Impact? What's the deal? And he's one of the only wrestlers I got to have a candid convo like that. And he was like, "Oh man, New Japan, I would love to work Japan. We'll see. Maybe some doors will open." And then he was like, "But as far as Ring of Honor is concerned, you're just gonna have to keep watching, I guess." And then he winked at me, and I was like, "Oh, that's when I knew." I was like, "Oh, he's coming!" Obviously, he was on TV and everything, but I think this is a clear sign, going forward, he's gonna be in Ring of Honor. So
yeah.
Was that before or after that Bully Ray thing?
That was before.
Okay.
So after this Last Man Standing, there was a segment with Bully Ray. There was supposed to be a tag match of Cheeseburger and some dude against the Dogs. The Dogs ended up jumping Cheeseburger and his partner. And then Cheeseburger asked Bully Ray to be his partner. Pretty much just led to Bully Ray turning on Cheeseburger and being a heel again, and just pretty much saying how all these young guys are ruining the business. And then Flip Gordon came.
Gordon,
Ricochet. And he talked about how he's a WWE Hall of Famer now, and blah, blah, blah.
Which got kind of booed, right?
Yeah.
This was a real Ring of Honor crowd.
Yeah.
It was different from all the other crowds we were at, not just because of size, but because of the type of fans that were there. These were actually...
I was next to someone that actually wanted to see Dalton Castle versus Marty Scurll.
So that segment was...
The problem here, and we don't have to talk too much about the segment, was that on a show where there's tons of great cards, there were several matches that didn't need to be on there, and this probably only needed to be a 3 to 3.5 hour show, and it ended up being almost 5 hours because they inflated the show with stuff like this, and the pacing was bad.
Yeah.
They when James was saying we were right in the groove of the show, we had great match, and it was awesome. It felt like a New Japan show.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they started putting on this fluff, and it was a big buffer, and it really started bringing things down. I don't even remember what happened. What happened after the Bully Ray segment?
So after Bully Ray, we went to what we thought was going to be the last match of the show.
Yeah. What's the biggest match in the company's history?
Yeah. Right. The Bullet Club collide with the Best Bout Machine, Kenny Omega, taking on the American Nightmare, Cody.
So they could have done that Bully Ray segment on TV.
Yeah.
The TV tapings.
Yeah.
And instead we got it on the pay-per-view, and it was just a waste of our time. Plus, like, what has Bully Ray done in Ring of Honor this whole past year that's mattered?
Right. He just had that feud with the Briscoes.
He had that, and yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. This just was like a waste of our time. And then, yeah, so we're expecting everyone that's come there, 6,000 plus, the biggest crowd they've ever had. They sold those tickets off the back of Kenny versus Cody. And then they put it in the semi-main event. It's like they never watched WrestleMania 18.
what promotion is still making this mistake?
Or WrestleMania 25.
Yeah.
It's like they like in NXT actually did like the inverse of this, like immediately at the same time. So it's a nice juxtaposition.
Yeah, we weren't there, and then like we watched that show today, and it was like, okay, their title match went on second, and the title came off better. They put on a great match, and the show was better for it. And this show, like people started leaving after the Kenny and Cody match because that's why people came there, and
like 25% of the building just got up.
Yeah.
Out of here.
But
we stayed like fools.
but let's talk about this match though. This Kenny and Cody match was phenomenal. Great storytelling. Majority of the match, it was like Cody had studied Kenny and was just constantly getting the upper hand on Kenny, reversing all of his big moves, and was really getting a lot of heat on Kenny.
Just like being there, I've never been in such a heated crowd for any wrestling match in my entire life. It felt like a soccer game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, the crowd was electric. The entrances were incredible. The heat was just off the charts. What did you guys think about this match? Like, what were your guys' impressions and feelings and thoughts? And share with the group.
So, off rip to me, I don't know how you can come to any conclusion after going through this weekend. And granted, we'll still have to go through WrestleMania, but I don't know how you go through non-main roster WWE throughout all pro wrestling and not come to the conclusion that Tommaso Ciampa and Cody Rhodes are the two biggest heels in the entire company or the entire world in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Cody, I think it's a more global thing to where like he has now officially became a star. He's one of the biggest stars that Ring of Honor's ever had. In discussion, quite possibly the biggest star he ever had. Like there was an intermission between the this was 8 matches on the card, right?
Yeah, there was an intermission between the ladder war and the tag title match. Yeah.
So there was an intermission that was like probably 15, 20 minutes long or whatever else, and I went to go see if I could buy a Cody shirt or whatever else and see what kind of Cody shirts were available to show that they had something besides the American Nightmare, American flag joint. And I looked around. There were 2 concessions. I took the entire lap around the entire venue. There's 2 souvenir stands right next to each other. I went to the first one. I sat in line for forever. Went there, and they were like, nope, we sold out of those things. Like, you want a Cody shirt? You should have came here like 12 hours ago. Like, they sold out immediately out of the Cody stuff. And then I went to the next one over, and they're like, no, we sold out. You looked around, and the only thing you saw was, I mean, not only thing, but like 80% of the shirts you saw were Bullet Club shirts, and there were a ton of Cody shirts. Like, I didn't know that was going to be the main or the second from the top, so I actually went to go in a break, try to go use the bathroom, and actually take a lap because at that point I was kind of getting tired. So I was like, all right, so let me take a walk around, and kind of get right. And next thing I know, I hear Cody's music, and I was like, what?
What are they doing?
Yeah, it was so shocking.
Yeah, well, we saw the graphic come up, and we were like, what? No, they can't be doing this match next.
Right.
And then Cody's music hit, and I was like, they cannot be serious.
It was the wrong call. It flat out, because
it hurt their main event badly. Like that, if they do that same exact match that Marty and Dalton had. That match does not. It doesn't. It lands like it just didn't. because like the crowd wasn't into it. Like it was similar to when you talked about when your experience at WrestleMania 32 being in the crowd in Orlando was like after the Hardys came out. For that ladder match, the crowd had nothing left, and it took them a while until Goldberg and Lesnar went out there and had themselves a 5-minute Ming versus Giant classic out there.
Yeah.
So it was, it was unfortunate, but I just like as far as the match, I thought this was a really good a really great WWE main event type of match on a pay-per-view, and it's something where Cody, where in these matches, or because of the quote unquote indie striking style and in the pace, like for him to get guys to slow down, like it actually makes for an enjoyable watch when he's wrestling like these great guys, like whether it's Okada or Ibushi or Kenny, where like it's always interesting to be like I always wondered like what would it look like if they were in the WWE, and you actually get with Cody. You actually get to see what they would look like in WWE, and like you think maybe they won't be able to do as much stuff or whatever else, but you think like no, their match will be just as incredible. And to work with Cody where he's at the top of his game with all of the cheating in the world, and like the crowd genuinely hates that dude. Like they broke out.
Fuck Cody Rhodes.
They literally broke out into John Cena territory where like. He's a top babyface and the top heel in this brand where they're going, let's go Cody. Cody sucks. F you, Cody. They hated this dude. And like,
but you know what? Also part of it is Cody gets cheered on most Ring of Honor shows.
Right. This wasn't a Ring of Honor crowd like that.
Not entirely. A large majority of it, and I would say the majority of fans, believe it or not, were like Cody fans.
There was a lot of Cody chants.
I want to say there was one section that was getting it started.
Yeah,
that was really. But no,
I mean,
Omega was so much more over. He was so much more beloved.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Kenny was.
Well, because one guy's a babyface and one's a heel.
Well, no, right. It's not just that. One guy's international and never comes to America, and guys are never going to get to see him. And then one guy's the flagship of that company, and actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a fair comparison because, like
if you ask me who had the bigger pop,
Kenny had the bigger pop. Kenny had the biggest pop of the night, and it was incredible.
But the thing was, throughout the entire match, majority of the match, most of his chants were based off of
Cody.
About Cody.
Yeah.
Anything Cody did, it set the crowd off in one way or the other. And that's not to say anything bad about Kenny because
no, it's not a criticism.
Look, you heard that pop when he came out. He had the biggest pop of the night.
And he was over. There's no denying that he was over. But the fact of the matter is there's different types of wrestling crowds and different viewers.
Right.
And, like, Cody, to the Ring of Honor crowd, is a star.
Yep.
It's not the Ring of Honor of old. It's not 2004, 2006 anymore. It's not that Ring of Honor. It's the current product and the current viewership. Cody's the biggest draw in that company.
Yeah, I mean,
by far.
Absolutely.
Since he's been in the company, they've keep getting bigger and bigger houses.
Dude, the reason they're in that building right now is because of him.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, they put on Dalton Castle and Maurice Scroll, and look, I really like Marty, but, like, he ain't, maybe he does get a match eventually with Kenny, but I don't think they packing in 7,000 or 6,000 people or 56 or selling 5,500 tickets in one night to it.
Now there's some other things we got to talk about though, because I didn't think that Cody put in the best performance as far as athleticism, because there was quite a few botches in that match that I think need to be talked about
on both sides.
Yeah. Well, it was just Cody. I guess there's certain moves he's just not used to taking. He's not used. They don't do dragon suplexes very often in WWE, so he doesn't really know how to take a dragon suplex properly. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know how to take a reverse Rana, which is something he messed up also. Mm-hmm. What else was there?
The reason our Savior was coming to play.
Yeah. There was also, they tried that dragon suplex twice. Like, one was a botch on Cody's where he get all the way over and flipped over and ended up landing on Kenny's back. And then there was also the one where, I don't know what the hell happened with Kenny, where, he goes to do it and, he basically, straddles Cody's back and rises to the ground or almost rises to the ground like he's a horse or some shit. I was like, I don't know what was going on. But you get past there wasn't anything that was
they didn't ruin the match.
They didn't ruin anything that ruined the complete flow of the match, but there were some things that stuck out. But I think I don't know, man. Like, who else? I don't think anybody else right now is at this level as far as getting the crowd to completely lose their shit and like completely forget, like, oh yeah, this is all fake.
Yeah.
Like this, as far as people's like disgust for this dude.
As far as working the crowd,
It's like,
weird.
I'll tell you what it's from my perspective, because I don't follow Cody Rhodes at all. It's like you get a feeling of like he's not supposed to be in the ring at all with Kenny Omega. Like he's not nowhere, like anywhere near his level, and it's like he's trying to ruin the Bullet Club. Like essentially, like, and that, like he's the fucking stooge. Like, and I know a lot of people like that watch Being Elite are realizing this and everything like that. And it's like, you know, how long is the Bullet Club supposed to go on? Blah blah blah, whatever. But the way that, like, you know, they're doing the manipulation, that resonates, you know, with folks. And it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, what, like, you putting wow, JBL's on this fucker. They you know, the Kenny Omega I enjoy is at a level that's just way up there, and I don't think you get that with Cody Rhodes. So that's where it comes from for me.
my problem was this: we did not get the come to like make a point and prove a point Cody on that night, and I think there is that Cody. I've seen matches with him this whole past couple months. That's what we've been getting. We got that at Wrestle Kingdom. We got that in Long Beach too.
We didn't get a great match. I don't feel like
we got main event Cody, who does a lot of heel stuff, which he had the crowd in the palm of his hands. He did put on a good performance as far as like working a crowd goes, but as far as like an athletic contest, it wasn't like we got that side of Cody. We got heel Cody, and there's just like obviously
Cody. I think that was the best. Like. But working the crowd and like doing stuff to piss off a crowd and set them off. Like, I think it was the best job we've seen from anybody since Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom with coincidentally Kenny again.
Right. Here's the thing, though: they are clearly this was not the blow-off match. So that
and we knew that because based off of the coming up New Japan show, there's a lot of more Bullet Club versus Bullet Club matches. Also, something very interesting in this match was a lot of Brandy Rhodes involvement, and Brandy actually ended up taking a V-trigger through a table.
Yeah.
Good.
And Flip Gordon came out to come to her aid, so they're progressing that whole Being the Elite storyline with her and Flip Gordon.
So why you out here trying to break up the Bullet Club? Flip Gordon might be breaking up your woman.
Right.
Part of me thinks like we're going to end up getting...
You sound like it's real.
No, he's bought it. He hates Cody. And that,
fuck him.
This is the proof of how good of a heel he is.
This is
you are the living embodiment.
That's exactly. Fuck him.
No,
fuck him. He's not good. Like, and that's why I sent in the question in January. Like, is Cody Rhodes good? Like, if the goal is for you to hate someone, cool, you got that in the bag. But like when it comes to like the wrestling, and that's what I value as a fan, is like you're not on this level, and why are you here? That's almost some Jinder Mahal shit.
But the problem is the level that you're talking about he's being at. He's not at Jinder Mahal's level. He's at a level where he has good, consistently good matches. And the thing is,
that's not good enough.
It is.
Here's the thing.
It absolutely is. If it packs the fucking house to sit, and then you never had a house that big.
Right.
Clearly, is he not doing
something?
Bro,
we had this discussion. This crowd came to see Kenny Omega and all the New Japan guys.
No, they didn't.
That's why they were here. That's why they were here.
There was plenty of Cody. There was plenty of Kenny in Young Buck shit that was still available to buy. So clearly. That's not true.
That's not true. That's not
Clearly,
true.
it's not.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
Believe
I mean, I did see a bunch of their shirts still there.
Here's why.
People are still buying their shirts.
They're selling
People are still
out.
buying them. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
There's still a bunch of Marty Scurll shit there, too. So what is
I didn't say anything about Marty Scurll.
Another thing about that is, did anybody, like 80% of the crowd was buying Bullet Club shit? Was anybody buying any Silas Young shit? Was anybody buying any of those fake Kenny Omega
Team
shirts?
Kenny?
Because he's riding the wave. Like he's riding the Bullet Club wave. Like they just brought this dude in to
But
do
he
this
took
shit.
he took the wave to another level, so you can't say that he's riding the wave.
He did not. He didn't take the shit not to another level.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Like this is Kenny Omega's work, and he's riding the Young Bucks.
Look, you just don't. I get like you like to say with people that they don't understand. You just don't want to understand. So let's move on.
No, here's the thing.
John Cena's a fan in the crowd.
They're selling out everywhere that they go, and they weren't doing that before Cody. They're doing bigger pay-per-view numbers all the time. But
what's happening on all these shows? What's happening?
No, here's the thing.
They're booking New Japan guys on all them shits.
That's a lie. That's not true. That's a fallacy. It's like saying that they've got them on every show. They show up once in a blue moon. They're still doing big business with no New Japan
Big business.
guys.
1,000 seats in the building. Cool.
Okay, and no one's had the
What was it
success.
before then?
Nobody.
I don't know.
CM Punk,
I don't know.
Samoa Joe.
Nobody's had the success.
They also don't have the technology available.
Here's the thing.
They have streaming services to make their product bigger now.
But listen, nobody has had the success that they've had since WCW closed. So you can't compare it to anything else. You have to put, or like to WWE and say, oh, it's not as big, so it's not successful. They're having the best success that this. They made more money with Cody on top than any champion in the history of that entire company's existence. That means he is the reason that they're drawing.
You don't believe that because in that case,
yes, I do. I do.
In that case, just bow down before Roman Reigns. Then, in that case, right?
No, because
because they're putting him on top. They're positioning him as the top guy.
So
bow down before Roman Reigns.
But has their houses haven't changed with Roman on top though?
In fact, they've gone down.
Their viewership hasn't changed. Their houses haven't changed.
Their houses have gone down.
Yeah. The product has improved with Cody. Like, Cody is the main reason that Ring of Honor is having the success that they are right now.
I just don't buy it.
You don't want to buy it, so let's move on.
You're right. I don't.
We just said
You're right.
Let's move on.
You're right. He's a wave rider.
Here's my last point. Rich Ladd is what makes Cody Rhodes great.
Exactly.
You are the living embodiment of why he's having success.
That's cool. He's a wave rider.
And you are too.
With what?
Because you're making him successful by hating him because you're doing exactly what he wants you to do. You're what makes him great. The fact that people like that hate him this much means that he is drawing.
You're upset with him because he's in a feud with Kenny Omega. Period.
That's what it's about.
Right. If he was a feud with anybody else, you'd be like, yeah, I do see it. In fact, you see it all the time because he's basically a better version of Miz.
Yeah.
And you love Miz to death.
He's not better than Miz.
Oh, man. All right, let's get out of here. Let's
we'll go all day with shit.
Let's wrap. So Cody ends up getting
Miz is a better talker.
No.
Miz is a better talker.
Fuck no.
Miz isn't a better talker.
I thought you said something else.
This man's so upset.
I thought you said Miz isn't a better talker.
This man's so upset.
He's so mad he ain't listening no more. Let's move on, man.
So there was a ref bump. Young Bucks came out.
They're taking his ass outside the company to get over.
The Young Bucks went to throw a super kick at Cody. Cody ducked. They ended up hitting Kenny. The referee revives. There was nothing they can do about it. Cody hits the crossroads and gets the pin. Cody beats Kenny, and the crowd booed.
My last thoughts on this. I think I do need to see the live version of this. The main reason why is because I felt in the moment like it was so great, but as we drove away, I started thinking about it, and I didn't like Bury the Bear. I didn't like the Brandy stuff. I didn't like the Young Bucks stuff was great on its own, but then when you add that in with also the ref bump and then also the shenanigans with Cody, I started feeling like maybe this was a smoke and mirrors match, and I didn't realize it because of the moment that we were there. And so every time I read a review, now when I watched it, I was like, wow, this was one of the best North American matches of the year. But then when I drove away, I started not feeling that way. This morning I started looking at the reviews, and the people on TV are not saying the same thing. So I'm going to have to rewatch it. I will say being there, it felt like it was one of the best matches I ever saw live, at least for the atmosphere, the crowd, the intensity, and the build to the story. And they've done a great job. I am still, however, extremely excited for where the story's going and to see these guys wrestle for real. And I want Kenny to get him in that New Japan ring where the crap that he was doing won't fly. They're not going to let him bring in Bury the Bear to freaking to Osaka or something like that. That ain't happening. So
you would think so.
Oh, I know so. Well, actually, no. New Japan does do some wacky crap.
All that wacky Toriano shit.
Yeah, they do some wacky
Max
stuff.
Force.
But that was my feelings. What were you guys like? Final thoughts on that?
Final thoughts. I mean, it was very heated atmosphere. Thought it was a great match. It wasn't a blow off, so the story continues. Cody and Kenny will wrestle again in another big match, and Kenny will eventually get that win back. But I thought it was great for right now for progressing this whole Bullet Club Fallout storyline.
I thought it was a great match, and we just got done watching NXT TakeOver, and that was the choice you had to make. Either you're going to go to one or the other. You can't go to both, unless Unless you
go to NXT first and then show up late to take over.
Unless you had master teleportation, you're not going to be able to watch both matches at the same time.
Right.
Or unless you got the good connection inside the stadium, you can stream one while you're there.
And your shit don't die.
Yeah, yeah. So, so for me, it was a choice, and after going through just going off both main events in particular, or even both cards, like I feel like we still have another match, but like you just going off both main events, like I'm glad I was there for Cody versus Kenny.
Yeah.
One, and then I was able to watch the other one there because like given what you just said, Josh, about how what the experience was for both people, clearly we made out the best way because people that are watching on TV, they didn't feel it the way that we felt it in the arena at that time.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We made
that's a great way to look at it. I didn't think of that, but that's a good thing to say, yeah.
So
and what about you, Rich?
The 3-Star Savior came to play. They had to do a match design around that. I don't know. It was cool. Like, but when I see Kenny Omega, I'm just used to like so much higher level wrestling, and
that's fair.
He's got to essentially come down in the muck with his miscreant.
Oh my god.
So then the actual main event of the show ended up.
I got a question. So did he slum it with Jericho because he didn't have to wrestle the character? That match is not a typical Kenny Omega match.
In a lot of ways, it still was a great Kenny Omega match because he wasn't being stopped from doing things athletically, diving outside the ring, like going not just one dive, like multiple dives, and being a great fast-paced wrestler. He was speeding Jericho up at times, and Jericho had no problem taking those suplexes and everything like that. And Jericho's way better
Jericho's
than Cody
got
Rhodes.
War style. He's got New Japan
Correct.
style.
He has all those styles.
style. He's got Triple A style.
He absolutely does. But like, I know it's a joke.
Yeah.
Like
Jericho had no problem like doing all that stuff.
But my point is, like, if Kenny goes out there and has a bunch of G1 matches or whatever else, like at this point, and Kenny's also said this himself when you talk about the Jericho podcast, like the day or 2 days after they had that war. But like, what I'm gonna do? Keep having great matches? Like I've done that, been there, done that. Like, what can I do more to add on to my stardom and rise my star and do things more memorable or whatever else? Like, and he mentioned like moments or whatever else. This was a moment for him. Like. And to have a match that was different and whatever else, and also like you look at everybody's profile in this match, like everybody that was involved in this angle, their profile got raised on it. And granted, like I know this sounds like the typical thing when you get something get like a finish that you don't exactly love, but like you look at the legs it's going to give you and it extends it out to you, like. They're going to continue to wrap this up. Like eventually, we will get the Kenny Omega match. And hell, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be Chicago or if it's going to be before then. What else is available? Dominion, maybe.
Yeah,
it could happen in New Japan. It could happen at All In. So we're not really sure yet.
The Cow Palace show.
Yeah, but you think right? So like you think of like this year and like all the stuff that like where Kenny is, where it almost feels like he's kind of like. Not really in
New Japan
at all, or not even really in Bullet Club either, for that matter. With like the way like things are so, torn. There's such a
divide.
Right. Thank you for the word. So, like this is like from a storyline perspective, as far as like figuring out what's going on with Cody or Kenny. Like I find that more interesting than this. Like, okay.
Great match. Now it's
great match. Like that was last year. Like he's doing something different right now.
Doing more storytelling.
And to me, like I feel like he's raised his profile even from this year compared to even last year.
There's only one thing I don't like about it. I don't like that Kota Ibushi's caught up in this story because he's suffering from it, and he could easily be doing big things in New Japan right now since he was gone for so long. Now he's back. I expected him to be doing things. And he's playing second fiddle to everybody in the whole story. And like, it's the one thing I don't like about it.
Well, yeah, that's true. But like, but if they, it turns to somewhere where there's a breakup between those two, and that leads to
it'll be worth
Wrestle Kingdom 13. Like if that's the move, then I'll change my mind on that. But but right now I agree with you on that. Yeah, it does kind of have him just kind of like just put on ice.
I'd rather see, instead of seeing him tag, I'd rather see him wrestle Okada. Yeah, that's what I feel like.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Omega wrestle Okada also.
We will.
I think we all would.
We will.
Those are two of the 5 best wrestlers on the planet.
Yeah. So moving on, the actual main event in the show was Marty Scurll versus Dalton Castle.
Shit.
And we mentioned, majority of the crowd.
Can we go to positive first? Let's do positive first.
The what? Oh, positive. Yeah.
First? Okay. I have to say that Dalton Castle's entrance for this thing was everything you would want out of wrestling. Sports entertainment, whatever the hell you want to call it or prefer. That dude, you can say what you want to about the match or where the positioning was or should he be the champion or is he the successful champion or whatever else. That dude came off like a freaking rock star.
Yeah. And he does every time. And you know what Marty Scurll did too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know I'm a big fan of Marty Scurll, and I know I was hoping that they were going to put the title on him.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Too soon. That's why.
Yeah, Rich. Yeah, don't you feel that way too? That you kind of felt that you sort of wanted Marty Scurll to actually win the title.
Yeah, because I have no real connection to Dalton Castle because I'm not an active Ring of Honor watcher. Mm-hmm. And Marty Scurll impressed me a lot more than he ever had with the Will Ospreay match earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And this wasn't that match, but Marty was clearly the crowd favorite, so I didn't have a problem either way. It's their company. Obviously, it's not our company either, but
right.
I don't have stakes in it. So
gotcha.
They could win either way. Yeah.
Emotionally attached. Gotcha.
Yeah. My whole expectation going into it was, I'm not as active a viewer as Jeremy is, but I know Dalton Castle. I've seen his work. You're absolutely right. His entrances and his gimmick and his character work, top notch. And his wrestling is pretty good. He's getting better. His throws are awesome. But as far as his actual mechanics of wrestling are pretty good, but putting on a match, I'm just never, ever, ever into Dalton Castle's matches. And I don't think he's ready to be the main event guy in Ring of Honor. He has a main event level gimmick, but not a main event level. The pacing and the timing and the stories.
Yeah,
of his matches,
we've seen a couple Dalton Castle main event matches now, and then
they
start getting good, but then there's a point where it needs to go into a next gear, and it never really gets to that point.
Dude, and people love that Jay Lethal match last month, and it never connected for me.
Right, like I said, it got to a point, and it was all right, I need a little bit more. I need something else to hit to that next level, and they were never able to get to that next level.
And so I was really hoping that Marty Scurll, who's great at bringing that out of guys, would do this here. But again, maybe I need to rewatch it. I don't know yet. But for me, watching it live, maybe it was the disappointment that went on last. It just never did. And it left a bad taste in my mouth. It felt very flat. The fact that 25% of the crowd left, I was like, wow.
It's if you're a Ring of Honor, you've always been this trendsetter. You've always been smart. It's how could you fuck this up that much?
Yeah, that was a really bad booking call.
Yeah.
All the main advertisements for this show were Kenny and Cody.
Wasn't nobody here checking for Dalton Castle.
This Kenny and Cody.
Also, the crowd felt deflated because I think a lot of them did expect Marty Scurll to go over, and it felt like it was Bullet Club country. And then when he didn't win,
everybody from Bullet Club lost except Cody.
Bushi.
really members of Bullet Club.
I don't have too many things to say about this. Just that, if it had gone on in the middle, just like James said, it probably would have done better. I think those guys had to work harder, knowing that the crowd was leaving. How dejecting must that be that you're at the top of the biggest card in the history of the company, and the crowd starts leaving when you come out to work? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's tough.
So that kind of wraps up Ring of Honor. Did we want to get into NXT or?
Nah.
We might have to save that.
We'll save that for another show.
Save that.
I think any final thoughts or opinions, moments. I will say this: I went to 10 shows in 3 days this past week. I'm exhausted. I've been exhausted during this podcast. I feel like I haven't even been able to bring my usual enthusiasm to this podcast. I'm glad you guys are here to kind of help us out because I need us to be in a 4-way to protect my my injury. I'm like Will Ospreay right now. But
need some smoke and mirrors.
Yeah,
right, smoke and mirrors.
Some smoke and mirrors. I will say this though: I went to Progress yesterday, and I was able to see Sabre Jr. versus Walter. One of the best matches I saw all weekend.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about?
We didn't talk about PCO against Walter either.
Oh yeah,
absolutely legendary match. 50-year-old guys ain't supposed to be doing that
Pierre
stuff.
Carl Ouellette
Yes, Pierre Carl Ouellette.
versus Walter. We saw it like 3 a.m. on a Friday night.
And it was like an emotional battle war. Like a guy emptying the last, bullet in his chamber, as we say, and literally taking control of like the access of time and saying, yeah, none of that exists. Like I am who I am right now. I may not be what I was, but I'm gonna wrestle the style of today, and I'm gonna like leave my soul in the ring. And you fucking won.
Yeah, that was insane.
He took such a harsh beating in the first half of the match that I was like, wow, it's just an extended squash match. But then it started
Turning.
All of a sudden, I was like, this is Flair Vader. I was like, what? And I looked at you guys. I was like, what if PCO wins this thing? And it seemed so out of the realm.
Yeah, it seemed ridiculous.
Of like possibility. And then when he finally did, I felt emotional. Like I was like, oh my god, this man did it.
Yeah, dude, that was insane. PCO was out there flipping, diving, going strike to strike with Walter.
He did a split-legged moonsault. Like
yes,
freaking
RVD. Yes.
He did. He was doing
a moonsault from the top rope
to the outside.
Outside, yeah.
He was doing springboard planchas to the outside. Like this was so incredible.
Like one of the great, I don't know if there should be video of
there's
it.
Probably somewhere between like 2,500 and 3,000 people there. It was that Joey Janelle Spring Break was the largest drawing crowd that we were part of outside of
Ring of Honor.
Yeah. It was insane. If I could, I'd just like to go through and like give you guys the highlights of like at least the recommended matches from my show. So like on April 5th, I saw Bloodsport. The ones that are definitely worth checking out were Walter against Filthy Tom Lawler. Great match. The match of the night was Suzuki against Matt Riddle. On Friday, I went to the Crash, and the match that you really want to check out. After that, we went to the Super Show, WrestleCon Super Show. I think we all kind of like agreed. Like there was like four or five matches on that card that were worth checking out.
Yeah.
Basically, what you want to see from that show is Tomohiro Ishii and Jeff Cobb, Ray Horse and Ray Phoenix versus Fumita Bendito, near 5 stars. I'd have to rewatch it, but I think it's in that territory. It felt like it anyways. Will Ospreay versus Adam Brooks versus Sammy Guevara and Shane Strickland. The 6-man the 6-man tag with David Starr, Brian Cage, and Suzuki against Sami Callihan, Juice Robinson, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. And then Golden Lovers against Chuck Taylor and Flip Gordon. That was, for me, for the whole weekend, the best show that I saw live.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it to be, but it was. Friday morning, I saw the Crash. Best match of that show was there was a 3-way match between Brian Cage, the Mac, Willie Mack, and Sami Callihan. Really, really good stuff. And then after that, we went to Rev Pro, and you got to check out Ishii versus Zack Sabre Jr., as well as Suzuki against Jeff Cobb, and the 6-man tag match on that show.
Ibushi and Osprey on it.
Yep, Ibushi and Osprey. Following up with that, what did we go to after that? We went to
WWN Super Show.
Yep. So you want to see Sekimoto versus Keith Lee, and you want to see Matt Riddle versus Will Ospreay.
That might be my match
of the weekend.
Aside from NXT, all my indie promotions, like Matt Riddle and Will Ospreay was what professional wrestling is all about.
It was mind blowing.
And then we went to Joey Janelle Spring Break, and then Walter and Pierre Carl Ouellette, knocked it out of the park. The next morning, I went to Progress, and the Progress match between Walter and Zack Sabre Jr. was another legend. It was the best Zack Sabre Jr. match I've seen outside. It was better than everything in the
G1.
Everything is better than everything in the New Japan Cup, and it was right up there with his matches with. We just saw.
Ishii?
We just saw him on NXT.
Ricochet?
No, Roderick Strong.
Strong.
Yeah. Shimmer 100 was a really solid card. If you're going to check anything out, you want to see Madison Eagles against Deonna Purrazzo.
The gun show.
The gun show. And then on Supercard of Honor, we just gave you the rundown on that. I also went to finish that all up. I went to Kaiju Big Battle, and then after WrestleMania, which is about to come on here in a few moments, we'll be going out to Kaiju again tonight. So that's that's
or
it.
no, the Mania call.
Yeah, Kaiju's there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you guys that was it for me? What did you guys think? Just to kind of wrap up, what were like the best matches for you?
I think we've said I think one of the best matches was definitely Will Ospreay and Matt Riddle.
Yes.
I mean, overall, this was a very fun weekend, great weekend. Running into all these New Japan guys and meeting everybody, and everybody was so nice to us. And
we even get to talk. We made connections with people, different podcasters, different sponsors, different
fans all over the world.
This was great. And so, we're definitely planning on making this a tradition and us, going to WrestleMania together every year and doing this kind of stuff. So it was a great time. And we appreciate all the fan support. Last week was our most downloaded episode of Keeping It Strong Style. Thank you for everybody checking out the show.
Thank you for your support.
Yeah, so
thank y'all. We appreciate it. And I just want to put these guys over real quick. These dudes have had, I want to say this is you guys' 19th show, and you guys were rich enough to do it with us. And I'm super proud of these dudes. Just hitting the ground running, taking no shit, taking over the New Japan coverage, and carving you guys' real estate out, not only on the Social Suplex podcast network as the top dogs, but taking that shit beyond. So shouts out to y'all.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. So next week we'll be back.
Y'all better than Cody Rhodes.
I agree with you on that.
Next week we're gonna have our traditional show with all the news coverage that we're missing right now, as well as the Dontaku cards are coming up, right?
Yep. So we'll have all that for you. So stay tuned to that. Make sure you leave a rating and review on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. And make sure you're following us on social media. On Twitter, I am at Jeremy L. Donovan. The show is at KI Strong Style. The brand is at Social Suplex. We have Rich Latta from One Nation Radio, who's at Rich Latta 32.
Yes, sir.
We also have James Boy. He's at James Boy 87, right?
Yes.
Yep.
You can catch me not talking about wrestling.
Facebook or Facebook.com/Social Suplex. Join our group, the Wrestling Squared Circle. Facebook.com/groups/Wrestling Squared Circle. On Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy. Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. So until next time, goodbye.
I messed it up. All right.
Until next time, goodbye and good night. Bang.
Pew, pew.